So basically, we are looking at how to generate the SSL certificate. Okay, first step, still on step number one. First, you need to generate a .cert file. And in order to do this, you need a .csr file from the Jack Bosch support team, and it contains some required information. So to get started, you're going to open up a help desk ticket, which I think Eileen, you were successfully doing, and you let us know that what your custom domains are. So I just want to make sure that we're clear that the CSR basically contains information about your signing account that you're going to provide to GoDaddy. And again, take your time and walk through this particular explanation step by step. If you have any problems at all, you're welcome to reach out to our support team. But this should explain in a little more detail what this process is. So you're going to send a help desk ticket in, create a help desk ticket, send it in so that you can acquire your .cert, generate your .cert. And once the support team gets back with you, you'll get a .csr file back from the support team. At that point, you're going to use the .csr. This is your next step that our support team provides you to generate the .cert file by purchasing a SSL certificate. And this is where you go to GoDaddy. So you can purchase the .cert from GoDaddy. It's a reasonable amount of money, but it secures, it makes sure that basically this lock that I have up here, if I clicked on that, see, it talks about my connection, and my permissions, content, etc. So it gives me a secure connection. And if I didn't have that secure connection, it wouldn't be HTTPS, it would just be HTTP here in the URL. So that's what you're buying. You're buying this security. And a lot of customers like to see, that you have a secure site. So you go to GoDaddy and you're going to get this .cert file. And then when they give it back to you, basically, they can help you generate the certificate over the phone versus providers, or give you a self-service set of instructions that you follow. It's really easy. It may sound a little complex when you're doing it for the first time, but it's pretty easy to do. I like GoDaddy especially. There are some free services out there like Let's Encrypt.org. I like GoDaddy personally because their support is extremely helpful, and you won't you won't get confused. So you install the SSL, upload your .cert file that you generated in step number 2 here to your Investment Dominator support, and it'll go back into the support ticket that you created in step 1. And basically our support team will take over again, and we're going to install that file onto your account and notify you when it's updated, so that your site now, all your sites, or your domain name, and your selling or your buying site will now have this lock, and it'll be secure. So these are the list of steps, and like I say, we beefed this up a little bit just today. This is kind of information that you'll see when your certificate is completed. And you can see this one was issued by Let's Encrypt Authority. Obviously, if you get it from GoDaddy, this will say issued by GoDaddy. So I'm hoping that will begin to answer the questions that you've had with regards to the SSL certificate. And like I say, at any step that you, and so someone asked, is the SSL security a requirement? No, Gene, it's not. It's not really a requirement. As I forestated, there are just customers that as they get on your various sites, for a site that wasn't secure, you would see up here, instead of this lock, before the HTTP, it would say not secure. And it's just a matter of a customer feeling comfortable getting onto your site, making letting them know that they're not going to get any viruses, that your site is set and secure. So it's mainly, how you may want to come across to your customers. That's really all it is, Gene. But that's a good question, because we actually did business probably for quite a while actually without having an actual secure site. And I'm gonna tell you, we did some deals. I mean, we did quite a few deals before that, and we're looking into some other. I'm looking at the let'sencrypt.org, but I think I'm gonna stay with GoDaddy because I really like their support for people. So hopefully that will answer that question. Another general question that we've had that I want to kind of address from last week's call for everyone came from Basir. And that particular question had to do with Pat Live. And is Pat Live not using a new offer request? So there's a little confusion here because quite honestly, Pat Live does not do anything with offer request other than they're going to put your file, they're going to take it from the prospect status, and they're going to put it in the pending preliminary research status. So again, remember, your prospect status are individuals calling in that have received your neutral letter saying you're interested in buying their land. So the prospect calls in, Pat Live takes the call, and then they are going to put in the appropriate information. Remember, we saw that, hopefully you remember, we saw that last week. Pat Live will go in and they'll put in all the various information that they need to put in. And when they're done, probably should have stayed there for a moment. When they're finished, they will update this status to pending preliminary research. And that's basically Pat Live's job. So no, they don't use the offer request. They simply put it in pending preliminary research so that when you go in and generate documents, your offer request will then get generated. Okay, so I hope kind of that clears up a little confusion there. And I think we had another. I thought we had another question on Pat Live, but I don't see it. I don't see it coming up here right now. Okay. So another excellent question that we had from Nathaniel and Eric, both had kind of the same question. And it talks about the second question that they had was on the offer request. And let's see here, make sure I get the question right. Okay. Just wanted to see how to put in a different offer numbers on each offer letter. So it sounded like from the particular tenor of this question that Nathaniel and Eric wanted to know about merging, being able to merge fields onto the existing offer request. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go back to help. And one of the first things you want to do just to be able to check this out is search your user guide and just put in something like Jax. You could put in offer. Search your user guide. And well, it's a good thing we got a little backup system over here on the side, because that search, let me try just before I leave there. Make sure. Okay, interesting. Alrighty. See, a good IT man is always prepared. You always got to be prepared for surprises. So let's go here. Search our user's guide. Okay. I want to actually look up Jack's offer. And let's see. Okay, that's good. Jack's offers. Okay, good. So one of the first things you want to do, just so that you have a template. Now we're talking about an actual, putting an actual field or merging a field onto this offer. So you can see this gives you an idea of how to customize your document, but we get down here to this content, and I have walked through this before, and it shows you this particular content. So we want to customize okay. Customize documents, and we want to add a new document here. And of course, we want to add it for land. And I'm going to go on and put both title okay. And of course, it's important to put it in nope. No wonder. Okay, land only. Both new offer. All right. There we go. Pending preliminary research. Okay. Now, when you get to this point here, this source, that's the reason why you wanted to have this source available here for you to select all of this source. And you can just do a Control-C to copy all of that source. And you go back here and a Control-V as in Victor. So you have C as in cat to copy it and V as in Victor to place it all in there, places your source. And then when I hit source again, as you can see, it brings up, our legible source. Okay? So in order to insert a field into this offer letter, depending on which field I want to insert, I can go up here and I can do insert merge field. And that's what I was thinking you might be talking about if you wanted to add a field to this particular letter. And I'm looking for property. Okay, let's do this property offer amount. Okay, and it comes back as actual property price, but it's property offer amount. And I'm going to stick that somewhere down here. Okay. Now, just so that I could, if I wanted to make this, now this is an actual dollar amount. So if I want to have it not just show up, let's say, as $10,000, without having the appropriate currency symbols. And I can go back into source and let's see, I come out of source and just hit, make it real simple. So it's using your parentheses. You just put parentheses around here. Okay, and this is, so it's basically, it's going to show up now. It'll show up as if it was 10,000. Okay, it'll show up this way with these parentheses here. Without the parentheses, obviously, it would just show up as a particular amount, 10,000 like that. So you don't want that to happen. So once we put this in our source, and of course we have envelope, and let's see, allow bulk update, yes, and we want to move to offer option sent after it's done, and we say add. Okay, so we've got our owner record in there that we've added that particular field to. Go back to land deals, and let's go on and generate it and see what it looks like. So there's one that we can do, generate documents. All right, so here's our new offer document here. As we create it, we open it up, and as you can see, that particular field is right here that got added. So basically, that is the way that you would add or you would merge a field into your particular offer letter. And so we thought that I looked at that question and I thought that must be what they're talking about doing. And again, so in your customized documents, if I edit that, this insert merge field, remember, this is how you would add the various fields. You can add any fields that the Investment Dominator processes. You can add any of these fields into any existing letter, okay? It took me a little bit longer than I anticipated, so I'm gonna have to move on here. Y'all are welcome. Glad you got that. Okay, very good. So next question that we had, well, not sure I understand your question, Vimsy. What are the situations when one needs to customize or merge fields? Oh, etc. Oh, well, the situation. Oh, well, it's different. Some individuals like to customize. They like to put more information on their documents or their offer letters. Now, me personally, we have used the letters as they come out of the actual system. We haven't really done a lot of customization to our letters, but there are some people that are in real estate, Vimsy, that they have a lot of background with selling houses, and there's certain information that they're comfortable seeing on offers that go out to customers. So you see, you have property agent name here. You've got all these different fields, and they want to see it. Maybe they're accustomed to seeing their offer letters with information organized a certain way and certain information on their offer. So they just may choose to put on additional information that doesn't come standard with Jack's letter. And I myself haven't found the need to do that, but just helps you customize your letters a little bit. So it's totally up to you. I really appreciate this CRM that we use here with Investment Dominator because it allows you a lot of flexibility. And so that's part of the flexibility. We had a question there from Geraldine. Geraldine's question is about tiled images on the main listing page come out blurry. Upon further investigation, it appears that when you right click on an image and open it, it opens as a thumbnail sized image and then gets blurry. Okay, I got that one. And Geraldine is absolutely correct. It does do that. Let's see here. How about a complete ready to sell record? So that we can, okay, great, perfect. Complete ready to sell. And you see I have my pictures here that have already been uploaded. So basically the question here has to do with when we bring these pictures in, you right click on the image and it opens as a thumbnail sized image, and then it gets blurry when it's enlarged as opposed to just shrinking to the original size. Is there a workaround for this? First of all, I want to address, yes, that's true, it happens. And the reason why we bring these in a thumbnail image, a thumbnail sized image, is because when you bring a photo in full resolution, that's the opposite, that'll be the opposite of the thumbnail size, is full resolution. It takes a lot longer to upload. So if I were going to bring this JPEG in, this picture, if it's in full resolution mode and I do my start upload, okay, you see how quickly this picture came into view. Now, if you've ever seen a site where they use full resolution and you're trying to upload pictures, you'll see the picture paint very slowly across the pane. So that's the reason why this is by design that we upload this in a thumbnail, because it comes in much faster. Also, when you go to your site, and let me update this record and we'll generate our listing. When you upload your site, if these pictures are in full resolution as opposed to thumbnail, it's also, you see how fast my site came up when I came onto this site, everything came up. That impedes the progress of your site being able to go up because the pictures are in full high resolution mode and it just takes more time. So that's really the reason. And is there a workaround to this? The answer to that question, unfortunately, is no. There's no workaround to them coming in as a thumbnail. That's just the best way. And got that question again from you, Vimsy. We'll go on. Hopefully we'll be able to get back to that one. Kind of got a list of questions that have been popping in here. Gene asked a question. Does the Investment Dominator have any neighbor letters pre-made, or is that something we need to make as a custom letter? And where do we keep this information? And that's an excellent question. Excellent question. And the answer to that question is yes. Investment Dominator has neighbor letters that are already pre-made. So just so that everyone's on the same page here, let's see, that question came from Gene. Okay, so yes, we do have the neighbor letters, and just so everyone knows, a neighbor letter, let's say I'm selling a piece of property and I have, because I have access to the county records, I know who the neighbors of this property that I'm selling, who they are. And I want to send them a letter saying, hey, how you doing, neighbor? We've got this parcel of land for sale right next to you, right across the street from you, or, right in your backyard. and we want to know if you're interested in purchasing. And I'm going to tell you, we found that these neighbor letters are very, very successful. A lot of people that are in the land business use neighbor letters regularly. They send neighbor letters out, and neighbors, if they find out that that parcel of land right behind them is available, they can get another acre or two of property, they go for it. So neighbor letters can be very profitable for you. So how do we generate a neighbor letter from within the Investment Dominator? We go in here, and I've got one here, but I want to show you. First we hit the buyer's list tab, as you can see, and I came in here and I'm just going to say I want to add a contact. So I'm going to tell you the fields that are most important. This field here, the type, and make sure you expand that and hit neighbor. And then we want to see what land are they interested in. The only ones that are going to show up here are the land parcels that I have in status complete, ready to sell. Obviously, if they're in any other status, they wouldn't be interested in purchasing that land. So the only ones that are going to display here are the ones that are complete, ready to sell. So it's very important that you put that there. And if I want to put in Mr. Wilkins here, and I definitely always want to put in an email and make the status is active, and obviously we want a phone number. Okay, that's about all the information you really need to put in. But you have all this other information that you can put in for your contact, your neighbor's contact. And again, this information can be pulled right out of your county records. So you can get it all right. And let's put him in California, good old sunny California. And any other notes you want to put on? Now this highlighted, not something I've used before, but this option allows you to highlight this contact within your Investment Dominator contact list so that he stands out visually as well as displays always on the top of your list. Totally up to you if you want to use that. So here we say we finish. We're adding this contact now. So we have two neighbors in here that are both looking at the same, they're around the same piece of land. And so the next step here, if I want to actually generate my neighbor letter, all I really need to do, since I'm actually on the buyer's list, I can go to generate documents. And as you can see, it comes off with this neighbor letters land. This is actually a document that's within Investment Dominator, and it's ready to go. And we open that there, and here we are. Howdy neighbor, and it just goes into, hey, why do you want to sell this piece of property? It pulls your name. As you can see, it pulled my name here from within my profile, and it says I'm interested in selling a property in your neighborhood. And basically it's letting them know, hey, if you're interested in this property, this is a rare chance most people get in life. It expands your backyard. Make sure you don't end up with obnoxious neighbors, a whole bunch of reasons. But anyway, this is your neighbor letter that's out of Investment Dominator. Will pull your information, pulls your company name from your company site that you have already, or your company site's profile, I should say. And there you go. That's how you create your neighbor letter. Good piece of information as you're getting more versed in the land world. It will help you greatly. All righty. Okay, I have a pretty quick question I can answer here from Basir that asked another question earlier. How about the second, when you have a no second owner? Let's see, the question is, if I have no second owner on the custom sale agreement, will the space for the second owner stay empty? How to remove that second space? And The answer to that is it's not a problem. You don't have to remove, you have to worry about removing the second space. Go back here again to land deals. I'll just show you what that looks like. And I believe you're actually talking about the offer letter. Let's see. What was the record? Oh, we'll pick one here. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I think I need a custom, I need a pending preliminary research record. So I'm going to choose one of those here. And I'm going to, I just want to make sure, first of all, that there's no second owner. Okay, so you see here, we don't have any second owner in our list or in our record for this particular person. So I'm going to put in here I just want to show you where it's going to print on your actual on the actual offer request, where this is going to print. So I put in me a second owner, and now I'm going to update my record. I'll go back and pending preliminary. Let me see that. I think this was the one. So I'm going to generate my documents. Okay, and as we get the letter out here, okay, hold it. Was that the one? Pending preliminary. Let me see if this was the one that I did. Yeah, that was the one. Sorry. Okay. So it was George. We're going to generate the document. Go right into the documents. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, Warren. Have to generate the right document. Okay, here we go. Everybody, hopefully you can see that. And you can see where my second owner shows up here, right here, okay? So the whole idea there is that that's so if you don't have a second owner, make sure I get the right record. If you do not have a second owner, we'll go back in, edit George's record. And we'll take that out. Update the record. Okay, now. We generate our documents. We come down here. We get the offer. And you can see where on the right after our George Holman, the second owner shows up right under there. When there's not a second owner, there's no blank line. So if you don't have a second owner, it's not an issue. It won't, Investment Dominator won't create a second line there for you. So that's pretty straightforward to address for Basir. Hope that answers your question there, sir. And we'll go on to our next, someone asked another question. So we haven't done much with the buyers list tab other than we talked about the neighbor letter. Bamsi, so I think you were here for that. We have another question that came from Scott. This is a very, very good question. I mean, they're all very good questions, don't get me wrong. Scott is asking about how much negotiation you do with a seller on the phone. And I personally, I like dealing with a lot of the sellers, mainly because the my wife, her name is on all the documents that go out to the sellers. So if they call and they say, hey, how could you give us this low ball offer? If I answer, normally she answers the seller phone. So, but if I get to answer the seller phone and they say, well, I want to speak to this Michelle Davis. How come she gave us this low ball offer? And I can be like the good guy and say, well, hey, I'm going to talk to her about that. I don't know why in the world she, what she was thinking, but we're going to see if we can get you a little bit more money. So I end up looking like the hero, and she sometimes has to take the heat. So in any case, it's a lot of fun talking to sellers, but the question is, how much negotiation do you actually want to do on the phone with a seller? Or do you just get their info and do a little research and then send them a blind offer? Well, no, Scott, I don't do that. I actually like talking to the sellers, and we have met some of the nicest people in the sellers. Of course, we've had a few upset folks or insulted folks, but that's very, very few and far between. The majority of the people we talk to, when they call, they're really interested in selling their property. So I like to spend time with them on the phone, and I kind of get into their world, get an idea of what they're interested in doing. Why are they thinking about selling their land? And people have some very tough situations. So I am on the phone with them. Maybe sometimes we're on the phone 2 or 3 times with a given seller, so that we can kind of understand what their needs are, and you relate to them, and you actually kind of become friends with them. And even after 2 or 3 phone calls, they will say, okay, well, if you just give me a little bit more money on the deal, I will I'll go on and accept your offer. Just to let you know, I think just yesterday or today, I think it was yesterday, we received a call from a seller. Excuse me, no, I think this was Friday. But in any case, we were offering them $700 for a land that was valued at over $7,000. We made an offer of $700, and we talked to them, spent a little time. My wife spent a little time with this person on the phone, and long story made short, they accepted our offer of $700 some for that property. And we have now marketed that property since last Friday, and we have a woman that called in just today. My wife is putting together a contract, a buyer's contract. A buyer called, said they're interested in that property. Now, we just put that property up last week, and so now we're going to close on that property for $700. The going price, or what we're selling it for, we have it up for $7,000, and this is going to be another profit. I'm telling you, when people have different situations, and if you spend a little time with them, you will get contracts from that. Just be patient with them and understand what they're feeling and what they need. So how much do you negotiate, Scott? The answer is as much really as you need to negotiate so you can get that contract. And we don't tell people any lies. We tell them, hey, straight out, we know we're under market value. We're not trying to offer you market value. That's not what our business is about. So just be honest with them, and you'll have some very positive results there. So, had some more questions coming in. We had another question here from our last go around, where I think Jennifer asked a question. This has come in a couple of times here. Changing the size of the PDF neutral letter envelope. And it just so happens that we've updated Investment Dominator to be able to do that right there. So can we adjust the size of a PDF on the neutral letter envelope? Remember, your neutral letter is the letter that goes out to your people that, you know, saying you're interested in buying their property. The answer is yes. You can customize now the size of the font on the neutral letter envelope. So let me show you that one real quick. Hopefully this will help some of you if you want to, you know, change the size. I personally, you know, I've left it. We recommend that you leave it to the assigned defaulted amounts because that has always worked fine. But if you so desire to adjust the size of your font, now in Investment Dominator, we have two new fields. You can actually change the font. Now, this is only these are only the fonts that are available right now. So I can almost see coming from this question, hey Warren, can I add my own font to to the list? And so I'll just share with you up front, no, you cannot add your own font. These are the fonts that are available. But here we have this new field here where you can develop, you can change the font size of, and right now I had it set at 12. I don't know why I had that set at 12, but I'm gonna zero that out. And here we can reset these default settings because this now is going to control your entire site. Make sure this is the one I can update. Okay, very, very good. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so before I do that, one of the things I'm going to do here is bring up my prospect, select this prospect, and I'll show you the size of it right now. Going to generate documents, and we're talking about the envelopes. So over here, as a matter of fact, let me look at the PDF here. A little better. Here we go. Okay, so you see the way it looks right now. This is the font size of all of the that's going to print at this particular size. So if I want to go back now, let's see. Here, everybody can see my screen okay, good. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna customize now, and I'm gonna increase, that's all I'm gonna do is just increase the font size of this, and I'm gonna take it up to 12. Okay, you update your entire site there, go back to land deals, and we're gonna generate this with Irene this time. Envelope. And the drum roll, please. And you can see the difference in the size of these fonts. Okay, that's the, let me get rid of that. Okay, this was our first one here, and this is the second one, and you can see a noticeable difference in the size. Now, we do, in this particular feature, we do allow you, there's quite a few things you can customize, which, like I say, I don't recommend, personally, I don't recommend playing around with these, but it's up to you. It's left, if you want more of a left margin, you can go, let's say, put it up so you can see a difference here. Save that. And go back here, generate documents. Looking at it. Okay, see I've got more of an indent. I've got more of an indentation here for my margin. So it allows you to change the look of your envelope if you so desire. You know, personally, I just use a standard size, but that is totally up to you. Okay, so we have a question. So yeah, just got about enough time for just about a couple more questions. Is there reload defaults for the settings? That's from Brian. And Brian, to my knowledge, no, there is not a reload defaults. For the settings, excuse me. I think that is correct. There is. Sorry, Brian. Understand what you're asking now. And we'll go back and show you that. So if you want to set everything back, because we found out that people that individuals that have gone in and kind of messed with those settings a little bit, it'll end up printing something that looks more like this, which you can see I have on one page. You know, I've got my address information. On the other page, my unique reference ID for the customer is showing up on the second page because someone's been messing with the settings. So Brian, you brought up a very good question there, because you want to make sure that if you mess around with this, that you set it back. Now, here for this value, what I have to do is I go and I select it, and I'll just hit my delete key to delete those settings. But any of these settings here, to set it back to the default, you can hit this reset over here to the side, okay? But we don't have one button that resets the entire screen or all of your settings back to the default. So you have to know what they are when you come in, so that you can always set them back to your default size. So the only section that actually does that, Brian, is this reset here. Anything else, like if I were to select Helvetica, I have to come in here and down click and then actually select again. And do not forget, once you've changed it, you're very welcome, Brian. Once you've changed it, always hit your update site there, okay? A lot of people forget to do that, and they have, you know, reset their settings, and then of course they wonder why their letters are still not printing using the default settings. Okay, so I think I have time for one more that that came in that I think is good to answer. That was a very good question on the default. Okay, we kind of answered this question that had come in from Gene. Gene was asking the word neutral letter envelope on the envelope, actual envelope. Why did we see the number end up on the next envelope? And if you remember, I just showed you that one, an example of that one, where and this is what Gene is talking about here. You've got the information here, but your reference number ends up on this next page. The answer to that, Gene, is probably pretty simple. It's probably due to some customization changes that individuals have made. If I were to go into my settings here, and if I were to move this over, let's say, you know, about 12, or I think it goes up to 14, and I move my top up, you know, that's going to give me a top margin, and I changed my font to Helvetica. Change, please. There you go. Okay. And I save this. When I go back, under this particular scenario, I already know that this is what I get. I get my address information on one, and then on the next page comes up the my reference ID. So if you want to clear that up, basically, all you do, you go back in and just set your settings back. Just reset all of your settings. Take out your font and then make sure you update your site and you're good to go. Well, I tell you, people, I think that's about all we have time for. We've got 1 minute left, and I just really enjoy sharing with you courageous people out there, and I wish you all the success in the world. Just want to leave you with this quote from Vince Lombardi. The price of success is hard work, dedication to the job at hand, and the determination that whether we win or lose, we have applied the best of ourselves to the task at hand. So I want you to know you are courageous people and successful people because you're hardworking, dedicated to the job at hand, and determined no matter if you win or lose, make sure you always apply and give it your best to your task at hand. I want you all to have a wonderful evening and a great week. And just want you to know we have these calls recorded. All the answers will be recorded. And we have another call on Thursday at 12 noon Pacific time. And we would definitely love to see you or talk with you on that call. Don't forget to send in your questions and we will get them answered. Have a great evening, everybody. Take care now. You're very welcome.